Hello, I'm Bonnie McDonald Dixon with the naturalhealthmovement.org, and we're here today having a conversation with Debra Stark, the award-winning owner of the Debra's Natural Gourmet in Concord, Massachusetts. She's been open since 1989, and I'm just thrilled that you're here with us today, Debra. And I just thought we'd get a little background. So I was reading online on your website. Your mother was a big influence of how you ended up starting your journey into the natural health foods. Can you tell us a little bit about your mom?
My mom was a character, and she would actually wander around the store after it was open saying, "Did my daughter order that no good rotten stuff? Does she know how expensive those cherries are?" But that was when she was older. When she was young, she really, the whole family converted to natural foods before I was born, and she used to get 50-pound bags of grains delivered to her. We lived in Florida, then from California. She would grind them, make her own breads. She juiced for us every day. We didn't have anything in the house that looked like Skippy peanut butter, but she was just such a character.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. So that kind of started your journey. And you are all about, your mission is healthy deliciousness, and you're in for the surrounding community. And so since 1989, is that when you actually opened the store?
That's when I actually opened the store.
I see. From there, when you opened the store, what were you thinking? You just wanted to have a healthy place for everyone to eat, and did you have a restaurant then in there? And tell us a little bit more about that beginning.
I mean, my vision was always to have a place where people would gather and people would learn together about how to use ingredients and would learn together on how to use herbs and why they wanted a shampoo that didn't have toxic ingredients in there. And I always thought that if I would just open a store, people would swarm in. That wasn't the case. It took many years for us to develop a loyal following, but my mission was that. And I wanted a place where there were no styrofoam cups and where there was cowboy music playing on the speakers, and we had just a place that smelled like home. So the kitchen opened, I guess, a few weeks after the store opened, and I would be the one to go in, and I would go in the middle of the night to cook. And there were always pots of soup simmering on the stove. We didn't use any bases. So when you walked in, it either smelled like garlic or cumin or cinnamon. So that was my vision.
Oh, it sounds lovely, Debra. So as the community realized that you were there and you were home, away from home, and they started coming, what did you find back in 89? Because I do remember that as well. I was working for a health food store myself at that time. And I remember going in and just falling in love with the store itself, but falling in love with the people that were in the store too. And so what would you say back then was the products of the day that really caught everybody's eye and hearts?
Back in 1989, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, quinoa was beginning to catch on, and everybody, of course, asked for quinoa instead of quinoa. And there was no organic chocolate, so we didn't have any chocolate in the store. And we didn't even have produce when we first opened, because my mother threatened me. She knew how hard produce was, and she said, "If you have produce, I will never darken your door." And later we did have produce, but just on Tuesdays, and now we have it all the time. But I'm trying to remember. I don't have a clue. And the way we stocked the store is that somebody would come in and say, "Do you have such and such?" And I'd say, "No, but we'll have it tomorrow or the next day." And I would turn around and order it from the distributors. But I think what I do remember is how hard I worked to get people to love the things that I loved. I didn't care what other people wanted. I wanted them to, and that's not a good thing for a retailer, but I wanted people to fall in love with things that they hadn't tasted or didn't know about. So Graber olives, for instance, that are out your way. I grew up with Graber olives, and we used to call them butter olives because we loved them so much. And I ordered a pallet of them to come arrive at the store before we opened, didn't occur to me that everybody in town wouldn't love them as much as I did. So it took, I would say, opening and sampling those out to get other people to follow along. And this year, we don't have them on the shelf now because they had a shortage. So we have to wait for the new crop in October, we were told.
Wow. Wow.
They don't have enough for wholesale this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm crying in my cups.
So you have now, though, over these many years, it says over 8,000 products on your shelves. That's, my goodness, how big is the store?
It's only 3,200 square feet. Mm-hmm. But don't you think any natural product store worth its salt has that many products on the shelf?
Probably so.
Yeah, I think so.
So lots of fun things.
Yes.
And then with your staff and your son and yourself, it says 165 years of experience. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot. Well, right now we have 57 staff, which is the most we've ever had. But I would say about a quarter of them are high schoolers. Mm-hmm. So, that sort of takes away from all the years of experience. Mm-hmm. But that gives me such pleasure. Not only are they smart and fast as the dickens, but they're eager to learn. Mm. And when we send them off to the world after they've been with us, we like to think that they've been turned on to organic and natural.
Mm. So it also says that you're committed. So you're teaching young people to be committed to quality, honesty, and transparency of the products, I assume.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I always say to them that we're all about stories. So every natural product store tells their customers stories about their vendors, about the products, or what makes them special, or where they come from, and why we've discovered George from Greece with his olive oil. And so learning those stories makes it personal for them and for our customers. And I will turn around and I'll hear someone saying, oh, Debra got a card from George in Greece and he sent her a picture of his olive trees in the winter. So all of those things are helpful and really make it human.
Mm-hmm. You just went to the Expo East show
a
few months ago, and it sounded like you had a grand time.
Yes.
What was your favorite new product that you found?
I knew you were going to ask me things like that, and I get so excited about so many things. But one of the things I brought in, which didn't take off as I had expected it would, was a really beautiful aromatherapy diffuser and nightlight. Mm-hmm. And it was hand-blown glass, just absolutely gorgeous. We've had a lot over the years that I've loved, but this one I just thought was almost like a museum piece. Mm. And I ordered, I kid you not, 144 of them.
Woo! Committed.
That's what our store manager said. And I said, don't worry, Jim, they'll sell. They'll fly like hotcakes. But they have not. So that was something I really loved.
You have gifts for years to come.
Yes. I hope not too many years.
So it's always grand to know that you're running a store, but you're more than a store. You were manufacturing Stark Sisters granola. Tell us more about that.
So I started making in the store, actually, and we have one little oven in the store, but back then the kitchen wasn't so busy. And I would make it, and the whole block outside the store would smell of maple and almonds, which was just wonderful. And we would take it out of the oven. It didn't even get a chance to cool. People would insist on putting it in a soup cup. And one day, Rick Antonelli, who used to be a president of United Natural Foods, walked in and said, "What is that smell?" And tasted it. And United Natural Foods placed an order. So I spent a weekend, instead of replacing my beaten up car, I bought a rotary convection oven and rented space behind the store. And so I would go over at night after the store and mix batches of granola. I had to soon hire people, and we went from there to having a co-packer, and I assume everyone knows a co-packer is someone who takes your recipe and makes it for you. We were national at one point, but it got to the place in my life I said, I can't do the store and the granola company and do them both justice. So finally, after 25, 26, 27 years, I decided to close it down. And I will tell you, men came out of the woodwork. I have no idea why our granola appealed more to men than to anybody else, men and animals.
Oh
So
my
we had one person call crying on the phone because she said that her parrot wouldn't eat anything else besides Stark Sisters granola, and what could she do? And one man who's a customer said that his wife and his dog were slinking around the house because he was in such ill humor that he couldn't buy it.
Oh.
But we, as you know, as you've said, we do give out the recipes, and I'm more than happy if somebody gets in touch to send them all 5 recipes, because we had 5 flavors at one time.
Mm. Well, that's an amazing story. So that leads to a little segue here. You have now, not only do you have a cooking show, which I love the title, Eat Well, Be Happy. It's so much
I love it
fun.
too. Yeah.
But now you have produced your own book, The Little Shop That Could, a retailer's affair with community and food.
A retailer's affair is a little more risky than it really is. It's a retailer's love affair with community and food.
Yes, yes. So
Yes.
tell us how that came about.
You know, all these years and all these stories and all these experiences with customers and with staff and with vendors and shows and knowing other stores around the country, I thought, I can't leave this earth without passing those stories on somehow. And I had been thinking about it for a number of years, and our accountant printed out the list of all the people over the years who'd worked in the stores, and I'm saying, holy cow, I'd forgotten about the bug man. Holy cow, I'd forgotten about the man who wouldn't come out of the basement dressed all in black. I had forgotten about all these characters and these things. And then I approached another store owner in Massachusetts, and I said, Michael Cantor of Cambridge Naturals, I said, we have to write this book together, Michael. He has an outrageous sense of humor. And he kept hemming and hawing and thinking about it. And then I saw Kripalu was doing an intensive on how to write the book you were born to write. So I went and I came back, and I think within 3 months I put down all those memories.
It just poured out of you.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is so much fun. I just ordered the book myself.
Yay.
And I can't wait to get it. It sounds so juicy. And I look forward to it. I wrote a food column myself for 13, 14 years and never thought back then to put it into a book form. But it's so wonderful that you did, because as you said, when we share our stories, when that is the whole goal of the natural health movement that we're doing these interviews, when we share our stories and we inspire, you are a pioneer. And what we're hoping is, as we interview the pioneers of our industry, that we inspire the next generation to also actually become pioneers, to do what they love to do as you're doing, to create experiences, and then to share our knowledge with the generations to come. And I am just thrilled that you did the book. And so how can people get a hold of your new book? And is it March 1st that you're having an event for this book?
I am giving a talk and signing books at the Concord Bookshop in Concord, Massachusetts. And it's a wonderful independent store. And I will be signing at other independents too. If people live in the area, they can buy them at that bookstore on Main Street, or they can come to a store in West Concord. The Little Shop That Could has right now no website, but it does have a Facebook page, and you can actually go to that Facebook page and purchase it there. And because it's print on demand, it's also available on Amazon.
Wonderful.
That
And
too loudly.
do they email your store as well? If someone does email, can they email and get the book that way, or is it best?
They can definitely email me, Debra, Debra, at debrasnaturalgourmet.com, and I will answer everyone, I promise.
So tell us, still have stories. Will it have recipes as well?
Yes, it has some of my favorite recipes, because some of the stories involve recipes. So yes, I have my mother. Actually, you asked about my mother. The reason I got interested in natural foods and realized I might earn a living at it is because of her bread, which we called Mom's bread. And it was, I devote quite some time in the book to it, but I also have a recipe there. So the story goes that her bread was just, my brother wrote a book about how awful he thought his bread was. It wasn't awful, but it was very dense and very heavy. Each loaf would weigh about probably 6 pounds. And if you didn't cut it the first or second day after it was fresh, you couldn't. It became so hard. So I was sitting in the dentist office trying to eat the sandwich that she had given me and just really suffering. And the dentist came out and looked at the bread and looked at it again and asked for a taste. And after he tasted it, and he chewed and he chewed and he chewed, because you had to with all the seeds and grains that were there. This is in the 1950s. He offered her $40 per loaf and ordered 2 loaves right away. And so as the saying goes, I realized that there might be money in them there hills. So so there is the recipe for Mom's bread in the book, simplified and made much more edible by me.
I take it it's very high fiber.
Very high fiber. And we also have a recipe in the book called Change Your Life Crisp. And the reason they change your life is because you will never, ever again be constipated. But I'm going to, as I get the book, I'm going to make that recipe and send him some crisp to my father. Good.
So I am just so excited to meet you. I look forward. This is a Zoom meeting right now, but I look so forward to come out to see you in Concord, Massachusetts, in
that would
the
be
story
wonderful.
van, on purpose to see you at some point in the future. And we look forward to hearing more stories. And online on your website, you have some amazing articles. And I know if people go there, they can sign up and get your news. But your articles look very informative, fun. I think that's what I'm really getting about you, Debra. You're a fun gal.
I like to think I am.
So blessings for coming on our program today, and we look forward to again meeting you in future. And the recipe, you've given us some permission to, I was thinking of putting that maple granola recipe on the Natural Health Movement website as well. And so with that, we thank you again, Debra, for your time today and this interview, and we wish you all the best in selling your amazing book that's just come out, and also selling those diffusers. Maybe buy 10 books, you get a diffuser.
Bonnie, I have loved meeting you, and when you come to this part of the country, there's some really other wonderful independents that you will love meeting too.
We look forward to it for sure.
So I'm going to invite you to dinner.
I am there already in my mind. I can't wait. I'm drooling.
All right. It's been a pleasure speaking to someone who has experience in retail and has worked in the natural products industry too, because you get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's hard work that you've done, but you've joyfully done it. And what I find about the natural foods retailers is not only do they have heart for their store, but for their community and for future generations. They're not in it for the buck for today. They're in it for the long haul, and they're in it for everyone. And I really, really love you for that.
Well said, Madame.
Okay. Take care.
Bye, Bonnie. Thank you so much. Bye.